Hey everyone, today we're here with the Busy Bees, Lauren, Maria, Gerardo, Sean, and me, Bria. Today we're going to be talking to you guys about some of the effects that technology has on education. We're going to start by showing you guys some cool technology we found that's predominantly used in education. Lauren, would you like to start us out?
Yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about this really cool app called Kahoot. It's easy to download and everyone can participate in class. So Kahoot is a great way for teachers to review student knowledge and really assess where everyone in the class is. Basically what you do is you go on and you download the app for the teachers, and they just create an original quiz and then they are given a pin. So then when they go into class, they have their students download the app, super easy, takes about 30 seconds, and then they put in the pin and that unique quiz comes to their phone. And the teacher has their, they put in their nickname and then it shows up on the teacher's computer who's participating. And you can do trivia games, you can do surveys, quizzes, it's really colorful, really interactive, there's even like drag and drop options. And so then the teacher can really know where everyone in the class is. For example, if the teacher puts a question up and half the class gets it wrong, then clearly you need to focus more on that subject. Whereas if a teacher puts a question up and everyone gets it right, the teacher knows that you can just move on and keep going. And so one of the best parts also about this app is that it is free.
The app is free.
It's free.
Wow, wow. Well, I actually heard that you brought something in today that you wanted to share with us.
I did. This is an eye clicker that I bought 2 years ago for a class. It was required for the class, and it's a unitasker. Basically does about a third of what the app does. It has A, B, C, D, E, and then the teacher puts a question up online, and then you answer it. This, I just looked on Amazon about yesterday. Yesterday was $50.
It was $50?
$50. I bought it 2 years ago, and I have not used it since.
And you said you'd prefer the app as opposed to that, and the app is free?
The app is free.
And what was it called again?
Kahoot.
Kahoot. Sounds like a hoot to me. Maria, how about your piece of information?
Yeah, so the two things I want to talk about are the Google Docs that we actually used in our group and the Google Hangouts. So the Google Docs, it's actually a document where we can just upload all our questions and our ideas like we did. For example, when I was in college, I had 200 students in a class. So someone came up with the idea of adding everyone or just opening it up to everyone. So everyone gave their input on the answers to, so it was a study guide. So in the end, it saved us a lot of time, and everyone had the answers to the study guide. And then we also could interact with other students in order to see their perspective on why they thought the answer was correct to this, the question. And I think for us, since we were busy, we also used Google Doc, and we also would go on Google Doc and add our answers or our thoughts whenever we had time, either it was in the morning or at night. But in other words, we could have also used Google Hangout, and those are actually phone calls. We could actually do phone calls through the Google Hangout, and we could also add videos or pictures. So Google Hangout is a little bit different from Google Docs, but it's still good as well.
I know we definitely did use Google Docs, and Google Hangout sounds like it would definitely be pretty cool. Gerardo, while we were hanging out, what was the piece of technology you found that you wanted to talk to us about today?
Yeah, so the technology that I thought was really cool is called a Nearpod. It's a really amazing product. I'm still wowed after reading what I read about it. So it's pretty much an education program to bring the class to life. You know, the way they're doing that by making interactive, like 3D like presentations. So I'm just gonna give you a quick visual. So picture this class, but the whole class here, everyone has tablets, iPads, and they're able to look at PowerPoint presentations, and they're able to look at them at their own pace, and they're also able to look at their quizzes, do their quizzes, and get the results like instantly. Also another cool thing too, so the teacher would be the one customizing all the layout on this application. And also, for instance, say like say Puff, he wanted to, do like a lesson plan and everything. He could go on there, he could customize it the way he wants. I think that's pretty cool. Technology is just advancing and getting better. Another cool thing that Jay just put too, you're able to now go to a interactive field trip with a VR with over 100 locations. So now the school can actually, save the time of getting school buses, gas, and they could just go on this application and they could go on the tablets and, they're there. It's amazing. Like, I've never heard of such a thing, but yeah, that's my technology that I think it's great.
That actually does sound really interesting. Sean, last but not least, explain to us what you found.
To reiterate what Gerardo said about the whole technology and using PowerPoint in classrooms, where sometimes it's really boring to just sit in classrooms and read a book or listen to your teacher. Sometimes they're boring or they're monotone and you don't really want to be in class or you're tired. Sometimes just using a PowerPoint, you can make little slides so that you can change the font, change how they look, how they turn, they can move, and you can add videos, you can add a lot of like pictures and like things so that it's more interactive. The students can look and understand what you're trying to teach them. Sometimes you can't get that from a book. It just goes through what you need to learn, and it really helps because then they can put those PowerPoints on the internet and you can go back before a quiz or a test or even the final, and everything's all condensed and concise so that instead of having to reread through like 16 chapters of maybe your nutrition book or something, the teacher has already pinpointed maybe 60 slides of like what you need on the final and you're ready. And then when it comes time to test, you're prepared because what you need is on the PowerPoint slides already for you to look at instead of rereading through a whole book.
That's pretty interesting, and PowerPoint definitely has helped me throughout my education in general. But now that we've talked about PowerPoint, let's slide into a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll hear about some of the pros and cons that come with technology and education.
The exponential growth from the program from my first year to my third year now, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me excited and just like fulfills me as a person.
I've been taking classes here for years now, so I've never actually had a class that I enjoyed quite like this one.
I think it teaches you a lot about, it's confidence building to me.
It's so impressive, and we every time we walk in here, you guys are doing something different. It's great. It's great.
Nothing but opportunities here, and we have sports to cover, we have the equipment.
Because the more ambitious you are, the more opportunities you'll have. And POF with this program lets you be as ambitious as you want and lets you express yourself the way a teacher should let you.
So, like I said, it's really gratifying to us to be able to help in a way where we can see immediate results. And I think the sky's the limit really with what we can do here.
Get the hands-on experience.
I mean, on-the-job training is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge in this industry.
Joining the class was the best decision I ever made.
Cut three, hold your shot. Stand by, we're going to go to cut one. And cut one.
We're back with the Busy Bees, where they're going to be talking about some of the pros and cons that we're having with technology and education. Gerardo and Sean, how about you guys start us out with some of the pros?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the first pro. So with technology being used in education, there's so many countless resources, from ebooks, going on like, online, researching things. There's so much out there. It's a very big pro versus, some people like coming in learning in class, but some people are more techie nowadays. That's where we're leading for in this society. Everyone has phones, computers. There's so much out there. So I feel like that's definitely a big pro that people are using, technology to learn education through. There's just so much out there,
And another pro, to go back to my first point, is that teachers are boring sometimes. I had a math teacher last semester that was just boring. I understand the lecture, but like he talked so monotone and like he didn't want to be here. It was lame. It wasn't cool, and half the time the material just sounded like I could be reading from a robot. It could be teaching me, and I wouldn't even know the difference. And it was not very helpful and instructive. And a lot of students, especially in my class, were talking about how we didn't like the teacher as much, and it was not fun. And having technology really does help that they can put these things on the internet. We can find you can watch videos later at home, maybe if you don't understand. People who are more engaged and more interactive with your with the people. And I had like my nutrition class. A lot of the stuff from my 16 chapters I read are not important. So a teacher put a slideshow from PowerPoint of 62 slides of things I needed for the test, and she said all of this would encompass the whole final, and I would basically pass the class if I studied from this.
Okay, my final pro is I'm going to talk about life skills using technology from education. They learn, we learn presentations, that PowerPoint. That's definitely a big skill that we learn doing. We learned that I think elementary school, and we still use it. And when we're in college, that's definitely a big tool that we've used in education. Also, writing emails, that's very important. Like I personally, I work in sales, and our procedure is, when we contact someone and they don't answer, how else am I gonna get a contact of them? I'm gonna do that with writing an effective email. I'm like, hey, this is my name. I know you're interested in this, but that's something that we learned. It's a technology that we could use for more things in life, and yeah, definitely.
I think technology and as a pro helps in boosting motivation and engagement in students, and how sometimes just reading from a book is not fun, and reading and listening from a teacher is also not fun. And these using PowerPoint, using YouTube, using all these different varieties of stuff, even apps on your phone can be used like Kahoot to engage students in understanding the material and learning. And the study by the Government of Education and Technology states that students are more motivated in learning and doing stuff in school and coming back to school in general when they use technology over standard books or just reading from a whiteboard or chalkboard or even from the teachers. So I think technology has been vital in helping students just grow. And it's not like we can go back to the 19th century where everything's on chalkboards. Technology is moving up, so we got to follow with it.
And of the pros that you guys talked to us about, which do you feel is the most important?
I think students, learning these life skills from technology is something that's, I think, is the most important, to be honest. Reason why I'm going to go with that, these skills that they're teaching us of technology, they're not just going to benefit us in school, they're going to also benefit us, with our career. Like say you're like a guy, you're about to do a presentation in front of your boss, and if you didn't learn that skill of using PowerPoint, maybe a different type of presentation, you would just show up and you failed, and the boss is going to be like, wow, this guy doesn't know how to use this technology. I mean, it's something that he should have learned in school, Another thing too I could also relate to is the like the emails. Like I work in sales. If I didn't know how to write an effective email, and this guy just wants to be contacted by email, not by phone, how am I gonna get contacted? How am I gonna sell him the car? These tools that they taught us, are gonna benefit us in life one way or another. So I feel like that is the pro that's very important in life.
And I'd have to agree with that point that, some of these things we don't learn in school, but we can go on the internet and learn these things. The schools don't teach you some of these things to write a resume, certain different things that we don't learn in high school. And, these things can be learned on the internet, and there are people who have done these things before, written resumes or done these certain things, and you can learn these things on the internet, and it really does help and benefit in teaching life skills that you can use later on in life that a lot of places don't teach you.
That's definitely true. Well, you can't have pros without cons, so we're going to talk to Maria and Lauren about some of the cons of technology in education.
So the first con that we came up with is that technology can be very distracting in the classroom. Like we pointed out, everyone's got a smartphone. So basically a teacher doesn't know if you're on Instagram or if you're on Facebook or if you're actually searching up something that has to do with the subject matter.
Yeah, and then also less interaction, social interaction with your peers, students, and the professor. So that actually decreases maybe the amount of professionalism skills that you will need later on in life for your professional development. So I think the social interaction also, so like also interacting with the environment. If we're trying to go towards helping our environment, how are we gonna teach and educate kids on the environment when we're using technology and virtual eyeglasses and stuff like that?
Yeah, so another con that we've come up with is that it also fosters a lot of cheating on tests and assignments. There are a number of websites that just post up answers to quizzes that teachers recycle and use, so that's another like really big con.
And then also, not a lot of students have equal access. It might be that low-income students don't have access to that tablet that the professor requires, so they have to maybe budget for extra $50 for the iClicker. And sometimes for students that can be something that it's really hard to do, so not everyone has equal access to technology.
Yeah, and then there are a lot of faulty sources online. There are a lot of, like Wikipedia can be altered by anyone. So not knowing whether your information is reliable is another really big con on that.
And then also for teachers, trying to keep up to date with all the technology and programs, I think they have to take even more time out of their day and even put extra hours to learn about this new technology that supposedly will help them educate their class. But if they're too caught up with like how to use the technology, how are they going to teach? So that's a con too.
That's definitely true. So some really good pros and some really good cons. We all learned about some pretty interesting stuff today, but we're going to head to another commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to the group about how they feel this group experience has been throughout the semester.
Hi, I'm Dr. Celia Esposito Noy. Thanks for watching the Solano College Sports Network.
All right, now we're back, and the group's back and ready to reflect on their journey as the Busy Bees. I'm going to start by asking you guys, for all of us actually, what do you think being in a group this semester has taught you?
Well, I definitely feel like being in a pre-picked group was really interesting at first when we had to take those assessment tests. I found it really curious, and I would really like to ask Poth at the end of the semester why he put us together, but it was definitely unique.
Yeah, I definitely do want to know, like,
The logic.
what made us, like, all of us, the ones that had to be in the group together, like, what was the thing that brought us all together that he thought we would work well enough together for?
And it was nice how in the beginning everyone was getting along, and we thought it was all going to be like, oh, fun.
Yeah.
But we did come up with like in the middle of the semester, maybe everybody was busy with what they were doing. So I think I definitely learned to trust each and every one of you. Like trust your own, trusting that Sean was responsible, and trusting that Gerardo was going to be here in class. Because remember last week, it was only two of us, and we're like, well, the guys aren't going to be here. Oh, they better be here.
Yeah, we were worrying.
And we were like already thinking about, like already kind of getting frustrated and thinking about these, like so many things. And then they ended up being like once we were talking about them, they like walked through the door.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, and that's when I learned it's like, oh, we need to trust each other.
Just put the trust that like we all know there's an end goal. We're all here for the same reason. Like, we have to depend on each other to be here and pull through. So what do you guys think the lessons that we learned in this class have helped you with about like group communication and working with groups?
Definitely trust, like she was saying, definitely trust in each other. Working in a group, I mean, you know, I've never had a class where we stayed together for a whole semester. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I you guys said, I want to know how Puff, came up with this group, they were destined to work together, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely trust in each other, something, learning that something I do at my work too. Like if I'm not there to do the work, I could trust someone else, help out,
Exactly. It helped in real life situations too, because I mean, we all had our own different personality traits, and that's why we took the quiz at the beginning of the semester. And it taught me a lot about myself, like as a person, and how I really am not a fan of working in groups, but I had to do it this semester. And honestly, like, it made my schedule that much easier to know that I had other people working on something too, because I knew like there was never a time where an assignment wasn't being touched. So I also had to learn the trust. And I mean, we're here at our last assignment and we're doing it right now, and we're all here and we all had everything prepared, and I don't know, I'm proud of us, like, as a group.
Yeah. And
I'm really proud.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I learned about like other means of communication too, like not just verbal, like with the Google Docs, like you were talking about, and then we also had our group text, and then we also had like that contract in the very beginning.
The contract was a really good idea
And
too.
I thought that whole experience really taught me like a whole lot about like a group can be organized, and then we can communicate even if we're all busy
And come to the same decisions. Because at the end of the day, we all had to agree on what went into our final projects, and somehow we managed to do that with like all of our conflicting opinions.
Yeah, and then our schedules too. It was really like crazy, because if you were available and I was available, we're like, yeah, we can work on it, but then
one person isn't available.
So I think it's also patience. I think I learned a lot about being patient, because I know I don't have a job, so I'm just focused on school. So for me, it was like, oh, I have a lot of time. Why aren't people working on stuff? But I think it's overall patience and how we said trust in each other. I think so.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed, like, just now, actually, I think we were kind of destined to be a group, because the first day that we had to pick our group names, we chose the Busy Bees.
Oh, yeah, so fast.
I don't think any of us, like, had any idea of how busy we actually were until we had to work together. So our name, like, we were able to peg ourselves from the beginning and stay true to it throughout the end, because even today I'm super
really
busy.
busy.
Yeah.
And imagine that with like, and it's also being considered of everyone's time. Like I think most of you guys work and have school full time. So I think it's something that we have to be all considerate about. And you can apply that into the professional world as well.
Yeah, I think it just taught me to be more accountable of just not me, but everyone in the group. And, sometimes in groups, there's always that one person sometimes. They're not coming to class or they're not working, and then you wait till last minute to get things done. I had that in my class last semester where a lot of stuff we didn't get done. And I think this year has taught me to be more accountable with myself mostly, and, people around me that, I can trust these people and be more accountable to work together. And even when sometimes someone didn't come, we text, we get together and figure out when we can meet and when we can do things. Even with a busy schedule, we figured out how to get things done and finish the semester strong.
Yeah, I really like that constant communication.
Exactly. Our constant group communication.
Yeah.
I guess Pop taught us something after all.
Class.
What do you know? Who would have thunk, right? All right. Well, I'm glad that we got to do this together, and I appreciate you guys as a group, and I hope that you guys feel the same, and that you feel we did justice to the Busy Bees.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we all got a lot closer.
We all put a lot
being
of
together
our
in
effort
semester.
into it.
Exactly. Well, I'm proud of us, guys. All right, well, thank you guys for listening to us today. It's been quite the journey, but we're glad that you guys got to experience it with us. We're the Busy Bees, and we're finally signing out.